On the outskirts of a quiet town nestled in the heart of rural England, there stood a dilapidated hospital. Once a beacon of hope, St. Mary's Hospital now cast a shadow of despair, its empty halls echoing the memories of better days. The locals rarely spoke of it, but those who did whispered tales of a phantom ambulance that haunted the old hospital grounds. It was said that on moonless nights, the wailing of an ambulance siren could be heard, growing louder and more desperate before abruptly stopping. No one dared to investigate, for fear of encountering the spectral vehicle and the horrors it was believed to bring. Tom was a young journalist, fresh out of university and eager to make his mark in the world. He had heard the stories of the ghost ambulance and, sensing an opportunity to write a gripping piece, decided to investigate. His editor, though skeptical, agreed to let him pursue the story. Equipped with a flashlight, a voice recorder, and his trusty notepad, Tom set out one chilly autumn evening to uncover the truth behind the legend. The sky was overcast, and a cold wind rustled the leaves as he approached the gates of St. Mary's. The hospital loomed ominously in the darkness, its broken windows like empty eyes staring back at him. With a deep breath to steady his nerves, Tom pushed open the creaking gate and made his way towards the building. He documented every detail he saw, from the peeling paint to the overgrown weeds choking the entrance. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the silence was oppressive. As he ventured deeper into the hospital grounds, Tom noticed an old ambulance parked near the emergency entrance. It was covered in rust and grime, its windows shattered and its tires deflated. Curious, he approached the vehicle, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and Tom could see his breath in the air. He felt a chill run down his spine and the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. He heard a faint, distant siren, growing louder with each passing second. His heart pounded in his chest as he turned to see the source of the sound. Emerging from the darkness, headlights pierced the gloom, and a pristine, gleaming ambulance roared towards him. Tom stood frozen in place, unable to move as the vehicle screeched to a halt mere inches from where he stood. The siren cut off abruptly, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. The ambulance doors swung open, and a figure clad in an old-fashioned paramedic uniform stepped out. His eyes were hollow, and his skin had an unnatural pallor. He looked at Tom with a sorrowful expression and gestured for him to follow. Summoning all his courage, Tom complied, climbing into the back of the ambulance. The interior was spotless, a stark contrast to the exterior. Medical equipment was neatly arranged, and the smell of antiseptic filled the air. The paramedic sat across from him, his gaze distant. "I am William," he said in a voice that echoed with the weight of years. "You are not the first to seek the truth about this place." Tom nodded, his voice caught in his throat. He turned on his voice recorder, hoping to capture whatever story William had to tell. Many years ago, William began. This hospital was a sanctuary for the sick and injured. I was a paramedic, dedicated to saving lives. But one fateful night, everything changed. He paused, his eyes filled with anguish. We received a call about a severe accident on the outskirts of town. A car had crashed, and the driver was in critical condition. We rushed to the scene, but the roads were slick with rain, and visibility was poor. William's voice trembled as he continued. We lost control of the ambulance and crashed. I didn't survive the impact, and neither did the patient we were trying to save. Since that night, I have been trapped in this limbo, bound to this ambulance, reliving that tragic night over and over again. Tom listened, his heart aching for the tormented soul before him. "Is there any way to help you?" he asked softly. William shook his head. "I have tried to move on, but the guilt and regret keep me tethered here. The only solace I find is in sharing my story with those who seek the truth. Perhaps, one day, someone will find a way to release me from this torment." As he finished speaking, the ambulance began to fade, and the temperature in the vehicle dropped even further. Tom felt a sense of urgency. He wanted to help William, to free him from his endless suffering. "Thank you for sharing your story," he said, his voice filled with determination. "I promise I will find a way to help you." With that, the ambulance vanished, leaving Tom standing alone in the cold, dark night. He knew his encounter with the Phantom Ambulance would change his life forever. He returned to his apartment, his mind racing with thoughts and plans. The next day, Tom visited the town's historical society and pored over old records and newspapers. He found articles about the accident William had described and learned more about his life and dedication as a paramedic. He discovered that the patient who had died in the crash was a young woman named Emily, who had been driving home from her shift as a nurse at St. Mary's. Tom realized that the key to freeing William might lie in bringing closure to both him and Emily. He tracked down Emily's surviving family members and shared William's story with them. Together, they decided to hold a memorial service at the site of the accident, honoring both William's and Emily's lives and their dedication to helping others. On the night of the memorial, Tom returned to the old hospital grounds, accompanied by Emily's family and a few townspeople who had come to pay their respects. They lit candles and placed flowers at the spot where the ambulance had crashed, and Tom recited a heartfelt tribute to William and Emily. As they stood in silence, the familiar sound of the ambulance siren filled the air. This time, however, it was different. The wail was softer, more peaceful. The Phantom Ambulance appeared once more, but instead of the eerie, foreboding presence it had been before, it now seemed calm and serene. William stepped out, his expression one of gratitude and relief. Emily's spirit appeared beside him, her smile warm and comforting. Together, they thanked Tom and the others for helping them find peace. As the spirits of William and Emily embraced, the ambulance slowly faded away, taking them to their final resting place. The air grew warmer, and a sense of tranquility settled over the gathered crowd. Tom knew that he had done something truly meaningful. He had not only uncovered the truth behind the legend of the ghost ambulance, but had also helped two lost souls find peace. His article, when published, touched the hearts of many and brought the story of William and Emily to a wider audience. From that day forward, the ghostly siren was never heard again, and the old hospital grounds were left undisturbed. Tom continued his career as a journalist, driven by the knowledge that stories have the power to heal and bring closure to those in need. And in the quiet town where St. Mary's Hospital stood, the legend of the Phantom Ambulance became a tale of redemption and the enduring power of compassion.